Okay, Coach Golesh is here. He's going to go straight to questions. We'll start here on the second row in the aisle.
Coach Golesh, Michael Gittins, Auburn, War Report. A lot of questions about how your offense is going to translate from USF to Auburn. How has the implementation of your system gone so far this offseason, and how ready do you feel like you guys are for camp to start with maybe some higher level offensive concepts?
Yeah, Mike, I think offensive football is unique in the sense that you better be able to adjust, and you better be able to continue to grow and evolve. That's one thing that as we've kind of gone through the evolution of this offense, we've done a really good job of being able to adjust to what we're getting. So the fact that our quarterback has been in it, and we inherited him as an 18-year-old, and now he's a 22-year-old, has played a ton of football, certainly helps. The center being in the system and starting a bunch of games certainly helps. But you can only go as far as everybody's on the same page. And so even though there's some guys in that room that have been in it, I think the core foundation is going to continue to be the same, but we've got to evolve and change. We're healthy right now. We're 2 weeks out from camp as of today, but we're healthy, which is huge for us leaving spring because we weren't completely healthy in the spring. So I think we're going to evolve and grow here through fall camp. I think the foundation is in. The guys have got a really good grasp. It's helped that just about every room has at least a guy in it that's been in it and knows the expectations and the standards. But we've got to continue to grow and evolve. We've got 15 practices where we'll work on us, and then we'll get going on Baylor.
Second row on the aisle, then pass it back, please.
Alex, hey, Joe Goodman, AL.com. What, if anything, did you take away from Indiana's quick run success, just from afar as a coach, kind of maybe admiring that? And do you think Indiana's model can be repeated in the SEC?
Yeah, Joe, when you say their model, what do you mean by that?
Winning a national title pretty fast.
Oh, man, yeah, that would be awesome. I thought you were leaning more on the transfers or maybe the age piece. I think the biggest thing you take away, and I don't know Coach Cignetti, certainly admire what he's done, and not just at Indiana, but at JMU and Elon before that. Like, the guy wins football games. Not being in there is hard to say, man, this is what their model is, but where I think as you look at it from the outside looking in, the biggest piece of it is the age and the veteranness of what that team has been the last 2 years, and specifically the age up front. I think we've all studied it because you want to understand exactly how that's happened. And I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew just because I'm not in there, but the age up front is what stuck out to me. Just how many games started on the O-line and the D-line would be the two biggest pieces. Certainly when you have a Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback, that helps. But the age piece, the experience, I think that's one thing that there's just such a fine line, especially with high school recruiting and the portal. When you look at it, is this balance of having veterans. It's one thing to have high-end young players, but football is a game where the physical maturity as well as obviously just the experience in game. And in a league like this, I mean, over, I want to say 87% of games are one-score games. Like, the talent level across the board at the top is relatively even. And so the detail, the margins, the situational football, third down, tight zone, 2-minute, 4-minute, these situations that end up winning football games, experience is king. And I think if I get anything from, I think what you're asking, I'm not 100% sure, but experience would be the biggest thing, and age, physically and mentally, maturity is what you get out of that to me.
Third row on the aisle, please.
Jerry Infanther, AL.com. Coach, kind of looking at the commitments you guys have in a 2027 class, is there kind of a cap on the number of guys you want to bring in? And if so, how many more guys do you guys plan on bringing in? Yeah,
we've had to make up a lot of ground in recruiting. That was such a huge point of emphasis from the moment I got there. I told our staff right away, man, we're a year behind. And it certainly helped to be in this region to where you have a lot of contacts, but we had to make up a lot of ground. I give our staff a lot of credit, our recruiting staff, our scouting staff, our personnel staff, with the work, and then certainly our coaches with the work they've done to make up ground. I don't know if there's truly a number. The whole roster management part right now is so, maybe the word would be crazy, simply because there's going to be a handful of guys that get a fifth year that we didn't know had a fifth year, whether they take the fifth year or not. And so the number is so in flux. And I don't know that we would ever turn down a really, really good player, but I really like where we're at in terms of we filled every need we had, and we're really, really excited. You're sitting the ground we were able to make up and sit in a top 10 class in the country right now. Signing days in December, so we got to go have success on the field to be able to validate what we've been selling and preaching. But I'm really excited with where we are. We're not going to turn down a good player, though.
Fourth row, left side.
Hey, Coach, Brett Pritchard, Auburn Blitz. You said multiple times during spring that you wanted to be a hard-nosed, physical team that runs the football. Talk about the offensive line and where they were at the beginning of the spring, and then how they progressed through the end of spring practice.
Yeah, Brent, I think there was probably some messaging early in spring that maybe was intentional in some ways to make sure that our guys understood how important that position is. That's a group for us where you talk about starting from scratch. We ultimately started from scratch, and it's a group, when you're playing our defense in spring, one, uber talented up front. Two, schematically, you're seeing from day one just about every single thing you could ever imagine. And so it's probably not just incredible for building confidence, but it certainly makes you work through a lot of things. And I give that group a lot of credit. And Tyler Hudanik and that staff offensively, like those guys have worked extremely hard, maybe as hard as any group on our team, at being in there extra, coming together extra. That group has done community service every week together to try to come together. Man, I would tell you right now, as long as we can stay healthy through camp, I'm really confident in that bunch. We got Stanton Ramil, who missed spring, which is a huge part of what we need. We've got some really, really, really talented young guys. Man, like Wilson Zaire is as talented of a guy that worked himself into the rotation through spring, missed the latter part of spring with an ankle. He's healthy, and we're really excited about, like, Parker Pritchard. Like, what can he do as a freshman for us? He's a young man that came on as spring went. But that older group, building depth in there with guys like Jacob Strand and Jack Layer, and truly that first group, man, like that guard spot's still up for the grabbing, and those guys have worked really hard to compete to figure it out. I'm going into spring with a really optimistic approach to that group, and simply because of the way that not only they've worked, but the way they've come together. Like, it probably doesn't get talked about enough how important it is that those five dudes are on the same page. And I give Cole Best a ton of credit because he's worked extremely hard to bring that group together. But where it was early in spring, where I was ready to pull my hair out, I think I asked for prayers with our local media. Some of those prayers have been answered, but we've still got a long way to go in terms of the work that needs to go in. But I feel really good going into fall camp.
Right side, second row.
Staying with the offensive line, Daryl Dapprich, Locked on Auburn. Staying with the offensive line, there seemed to be the philosophy the last couple of years that Auburn went out and patchworked the offensive line with a lot of transfer portal players. I know you can't specifically talk about this upcoming recruiting class, but it's offensive line heavy. Does that signify a shift in philosophy that maybe in the future you want guys that stay in the system a couple years from high school and then transition into a starting role?
Yeah, Daryl, patchwork would be a good word. We walked into a situation where it was senior heavy, lost the leader of that group, and Connor Liu, who was I never got to coach. Kind of wish I did, but was the heartbeat of that O-line, and hopefully he's going to have an incredible career with the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, there was just a bunch to replace. I feel really fortunate we were able to keep 3 really talented young guys, and then the 2 guys we were able to sign in December I'm extremely excited about. And that gives us a young group with Ty and that group, like a young group to build on. I think offensive line is one of those positions that is in year 2, 3, specifically 4 in the same system, in the same strength program, with the same offensive line coach, that maybe more than, not maybe, for sure more than any other position, what you get as a reward in year 2, 3, specifically 4, is a group that can work in unison, that speak in the same language, on top of being physically and mentally really mature. There's nothing like it, which is why the emphasis on the high school recruiting, with bringing in not just a talented group, but a group with the right mindset, a group that's coming in and being recruited on the foundation of Auburn football. We're going to run the piss out of the ball. We're going to protect the quarterback. We're going to be the toughest and most violent group on the field. Like every one of those guys that we sat down with, they all have the same traits. They're tough. They're mentally and physically tough. But they also are guys that are coming in with that understanding. Like you win football games in the Southeastern Conference in the trenches, and there's no hiding that. And to be able to build it with young guys that, whether they play as freshmen or not, that you can keep in the same program, the same strength staff, the same offensive line coach, like that is priceless. And so you got to do what you got to do, especially early, in terms of putting a group out there that you think can give you success. But ultimately, you want to be able to go into year 3 and 4 and 5, which is what this recruiting class is for, and starting with the offensive and defensive lines, guys that can be veterans. We talked about earlier, like what's the key to success? It's age up front, it's experience up front.
2 questions right here on the right side, 3rd row.
Justin Ferguson, Auburn Observer. Alex, you said earlier you've spent several years with Byrum at this point. From the time you guys got here to Auburn to now, where do you think you've seen him grow the most as a quarterback, on the field? I know you've talked about his leadership, but as a guy on the field, where have you seen him kind of progress the most since the time y'all got to Auburn?
Yeah, Justin, you're seeing a guy that is really, really confident. Obviously, you get to a new place, you get to a new league, and like I said, what you see from our defense, it's hard to explain, but you're seeing every single package you could ever imagine. And for a majority of that defense, they're in year 3, and so they're on level 600, and we're offensively on, especially early in spring, on level 100. And so you're trying to build confidence in guys, but at the same time, you're looking at a guy in Byrum that's trying to figure it out. The speed of the game is really, really fast. For him, it's a bunch of new guys around him. And so what I've seen from him is a level of confidence as spring went, then we got into May, then we got into June, and now as you're looking at OTAs through the summer, a young man that's back to being really, really confident. And yes, the leadership piece is huge, but confident as a thrower, confident in the guys around him. We still have 2 weeks of OTAs. The guys are on the field right now. That are big for us going into fall camp, but you're starting to see Byrum really confident in the throw game, really confident in the run game, but I think more than anything, confident in the guys around him. Now he knows where the break point is for certain routes. He now knows how runs are going to hit a little bit uniquely different with this offensive line. This tight end group is finally healthy, which is huge for us. I can't explain how big it is to have a healthy tight end room that's got depth in it now. And so you're seeing a really, really confident version of Byrum.
Final question, back row, left side.
Coach, Steve Moulton, 97.7 ESPN The Zone in Huntsville. If I could sneak into one, I know this is a little bit of a homecoming. You have a best steakhouse recommendation for us here in Tampa?
Yeah, Steve, I would tell you Burns is unmatched. It's a really unique dining experience. But we ended up last night, per really Byrum, we went to Meat Market. We had 2 donor events here, and then it was Byrum's call on the Meat Market, and boy, did that not disappoint. So there's some really, really good steak spots here. But I would throw Burns a shout out because that's Bear's favorite, my son's favorite, and then Meat Market treated us really well last night.
Well, what is your biggest question on your two deep specifically heading into fall camp, Coach?
Yeah, I think the true depth on this offensive line, how it shakes out, would be one. I think the rotation at running back, and really who is the 1, 2, 3. We're going to need, I think, 4 guys at the end of the day in that room, and what the order of that will be really interesting. That room that room has gotten really close as they've competed, and we'll put pads on in August and really shake it out. But like a guy like Omar Mapson, who really came on in the spring, like he earned time. Will he continue to earn time? Jeremiah has totally changed his body. Like, that room will be interesting to see how it shakes out. That receiver room, we got one senior in that room, and it's a really young group. Can those young guys take a giant step? We need them to. And then defensively, that back end, there's a bunch of depth between those 5 spots. How does that really shake out? There's some guys with position flexibility. How does that truly shake out? Who are the best 5? And then how is that rotation? Because I think we're going to need it. That linebacker room, we're healthy now. Like, DeMarcus Riddick is a healthy DeMarcus Riddick. So how does he fit in there? Bryce Dees has had maybe the best summer of anybody defensively. How does Bryce fit in there? And so that piece, and then the rotation up front. We got a bunch of new guys. A bunch of guys that have played, but a bunch of new guys on that defensive front. How does that rotation shake out? And I know I gave you a bunch of positions there, but there's a bunch of rotational questions. There's still some quote-unquote starting jobs up for grabs. But as you get into fall camp, like as we get to really through 11, 12 practices, that rotation's got to get set. We got 15 practices before we get going to Baylor, and we need to get a relative rotation set. And so I would tell you those, like in that order, is what I'm really interested in.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. War Eagle. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.